I have this pleasure of introducing this esteemed panel. Uh, Please welcome all of them. Let me start. We have sitting on that corner is Ms. Zia Modi. She is the senior partner, AZB Partners, well known to everyone. I think the next person to him is Mr. Tiwari. Again, all of you saw him in the morning. He's the CMD of the Union Bank, chairman of the FICCI Banking and Financial Institutions Committee. Next to him is Mr. Shah, Mr. Rashesh Shah, the chairman and CEO of the Edelweiss Group, also vice president FICCI. Then you have Mr. Khara, Mr. Dinesh Kumar Khara, Managing Director, State Bank, and ex-CEO, MD of SBI Mutual Funds. And next to me is Mr. Umarji, again a veteran in the Indian Banking Association, a consultant with years of experience on how things have unfolded. So what we have for you is this very current and pertinent topic for discussion on resolution and turnaround management. I think this is a subject which is heavily debated. Unfortunately, there are no easy answers, but which is why we've put together a panel which brings together a slightly more holistic perspective. What we have is representation from both the lender fraternity, but also from the investor fraternity and the legal fraternity. And what I'm going to do is also represent some of the industry voice. So as a result, hopefully through this concoction, we can find some common ground on where the solutions might lie. So without much ado, let me get started. I think the intent is really to talk about stressed assets. What we will do is I will take a few minutes to just set up the context for this conversation. And then we will get into three deep dives. The first deep dive is really more the industry's point of view and some questions around that. The second deep dive is really more the lender's perspective around the situation and what are some of the barriers to resolution. And then we get into the core issue of driving business turnaround, which is really the reason all these entities exist. And then finally conclude by some collective remarks on how some conclusion might be earned. So very quickly, I think none of this is going to be surprising. We all here know this, but I think it's just useful to get back on the same page. If you look at, as we discussed in the morning, while there are many positives in our banking industry today, this is an area which is of concern for all of us. If you look at the asset quality, it has fallen over the years. If you look at stressed assets between 2011 and 2016, it is actually more than doubled as a share of advances. Today, more than 11.5%, and this increases every quarter of assets at SCBs are stressed. And what you also find is, while there are many sectors that contribute to it, there are at least 4 core sectors which contribute more than half of this stress. These assets, these industries are iron and steel, power generation, infrastructure, and textile. And between them, more than 50% of the stressed assets reside. A lot has been actually attempted. If you look at in the last few years, we have had measures like CDR, SDR, 5/25, and very recently S4A. If you step back and do a critical analysis of what has worked, what has not, it is still early days, but we haven't really found the most perfect solution. If you look at CDR, it actually in some ways basically postponed the problem. We had many failed cases, and in fact only 5 successful exits as against 44 failures. Right? And as a result, obviously it got morphed into other schemes. If you look at SDR, which actually intended to change the promoter and get a new investor, we again found really very few successful cases. What we found was really more promoters using investors as fronts, and really actual investors continued to be wary of the hidden liabilities and asking for very high haircut. And as a result, really very few successful SDR cases. We also had 5/25, which we all know, which really in some ways defers the cash liabilities, but does not really resolve any issue of underlying unsustainable debt. And there were slippages across multiple accounts after 1 or 2 years of 5/25. And very recently, we also have S4A. Again, it's very early days to comment on it, but from what we hear and what we discussed also in the morning, there are obviously some issues that need to be underlying sorted. One point that stood out was it factors currently only the past and existing cash flows, which as a result is oftentimes not enough to fit the required EBITDA to furnish the future debt. And also it does not allow any reschedulement of the whole repayment schedule. And as a result, many projects don't sort of fully undertake or fall within the S4A regime. So while I think a lot has been done, I think there are still clear solutions which are needed. If you look at the recent interventions, whether it is the insolvency and bankruptcy code or it is the setup of the overseeing committee, I think everybody agrees that these are steps in the right direction. But again, these will take a few years before they fully come into action. And as a result, the current environment continues to be challenged in some ways. So really, what's the problem? As we see it, the problem is really that it's not one entity which can alone solve this. As you can see, the panel, we have to solve, it's a multi-stakeholder problem. We are representing few stakeholders here, which is the existing lenders, the existing owners, the potential investors, but it actually extends even beyond this. The entire ecosystem which needs to support to really get a solution out and ensure that we have a fair working model. What are the different stakeholders looking for? If you look at the existing lenders, they are currently the way of functioning is firstly they are looking for reducing current provisioning. That's one of the key priorities. They are trying to not take specific decisions and therefore forced to force-fit solutions into standard schemes which are available because of obvious reasons of not making very customized solutions. They also want low risk of investigation and they also don't want to put good money over bad money. So as a result, obviously credit has dried in these sectors and which is really problematic for the economy. If you look at the potential investors, they are looking for correct valuation because obviously they are putting capital there and they want to earn fair return on that. They are also looking for transparency and corporate governance because if they invest in an existing asset with an existing promoter, they want to be sure that the interests are protected. And they are also looking for legal financial protection against liabilities. And what are the existing owners looking for? They are obviously looking for firstly time because time with time lies hope and hopefully solutions will come. And they try to defer the issue, not arrive at a solution soon enough. They also want to retain control because this is their business which they have built. Their identity is linked to this. So they are looking for retaining control over business. And they are also trying to safeguard personal liabilities, guarantees, etc. So these are three stakeholders which have at times very conflicting interests. And finding a solution which actually marries everybody's interests is not easy. You know, we've been having conversations that oftentimes what is acceptable to one is not acceptable to another. And what we really need is something that works for every stakeholder. And on top, what we are also finding is that the ecosystem, the right enabling ecosystem, whether it is the valuers, whether it is the chartered accountants and auditors, or it is agencies which can certify things, all of that needs to gear up to ensure that the entire solution is holistic. So what we find in this current limbo is that credit in these sectors in particular, but more in general in corporate sector is quite shallow. If you look at what has been the last year in terms of credit growth, we all know the reality. What is therefore happening is that no investments are happening. And when we talk to promoters and entrepreneurs, what this has done is actually kill their risk appetite as well. So nobody is really willing to put further bets into the economy and take large projects today. And therefore, if the economy has to grow, our firm belief is that infrastructure and these core sectors have to develop. And unless some adequate credit flows there, this could actually completely paralyze the economy. So we are at a standstill. This is, while I think steps are slowly coming there, but way too slow to have realistic solutions in the short term. Right? What we need is a joint solution early on. So I just want to pause here and summarize the key points where we see the takeaway. The quantum of stress is very high. It needs significant focus and intervention to resolve. The sectors impacted are core to Indian economy and resolution is critical, and credit control is not a long-term viable option. The current schemes have had limited challenges. A stalemate currently exists with really no visibility of solution, and a balanced, holistic solution is needed with all stakeholders that can jointly conclude and take steps in the right direction.